Hello there, it's your boy Davidoff. Welcome back to Ultraman Review. So I mentioned I'd do any multi-parters as a separate video. That's what I'm doing here. Luckily this first series has only got one two-parter in the whole thing, so that's pretty good news. But I've just watched it now, episodes 26 and 27. The episodes are called The Prince of Monsters. So 26 is part 1 and 27 is part 2. And the main kaiju is Gomora, the iconic one of the iconic Ultraman kaiju. I assume this is the first time you see this creature, and they did a great job of showing you just what it could do. So let's review this episode, and yeah, we'll talk a bit more about Gomora later on. So yeah, so it starts with a kid. His name is Osamu. So he draws monsters, and he tells his friends monsters exist, and the kids don't believe him. And that reminds me a little bit of the Cosmos movie, The First Contact, when no one believes that no one believes the kid, including the other kids. Same thing here, you know, kind of similar sort of vibe. But I also thought to myself, wait a second. This is like, we are 26 episodes in, and kaiju they've been around, and so is the science party. So like, wouldn't the kids know there's monsters around? Or did the government hide it or something? Like, there are monsters going around different cities, destroying things. Ultraman's transforming to fight them. But no one believes there's a kaiju there? I was just like, wait, what? In this universe? What do you mean? But still, I thought that was quite interesting storyline. So it was clearly going to be focused quite a little bit around this kid, Osamu, who was very passionate about monsters. He once showed his mother a painting, and he said he got 5 red circles. I assume that's like top marks or something. I don't know how grading works in Japan, but he got 5. Was it 5 or was it 6? I read that in my notes. Yeah, 5 circles. Apparently that's like really good. And his mother was like, why'd you get 5 circles for a drawing of a monster? Why can't you get it in maths or grammar? I'm just like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of parents. Sounds like my parents, actually. Anyway, Gomora exists. Gomorasaurus is the full name they have for it. And the kid believes in this monster, and he likes this monster for some reason, even though he doesn't realize how brutal it is. But it's got 150 million year history, this monster, this kaiju, which is quite interesting. I feel like I got a lot of Godzilla vibes from this, and I'll explain a bit more later. Because in Godzilla there's like they have this storyline where he's been around millions of years, so but there's more similarities later which make me think about it more. But yeah, Gomora is real, of course, and the science party find where he is, and basically the science party wants to transport Gomora from outside this town to Osaka. So Osaka's where Osamu lives, so they want to try and transport Gomora there within 6 hours, because New York, there's a New York base along with a Paris base. They've obviously created a storyline where SSSP is everywhere. They've got the United Nations approval. But anyway, yeah, the New York branch, of course the Americans have the right weapons. They got a tranquilizer weapon, right, that can tranquilize Gomora for 6 hours. I don't know how they tested that, because different kaiju are different, first of all. Different bodies, different, histories. Obviously, how do you know for sure it's 6 hours? But I'm just like, this is not going to work. So they're going to subdue it for 6 hours. During these 6 hours, after they hit the tranquilizer, they're going to carry it with their jets. Even New York even sent their own advanced jets. They want to take the jets and carry Gomora within 6 hours to Osaka, while Gomora's knocked out. The plan is interesting, and you just know it's gonna go wrong. Maybe back then, because that was the first Ultraman show, maybe it was a little bit different vibe. But us guys, we've seen you guys have seen a lot more Ultraman than I have, but I've also seen a fair amount as well. You kind of know it's gonna go wrong. That's just how it is. So after 5 hours, they made it 5 hours, which is quite good. That's when it starts going wrong, and they get to the point where they can't carry Gomora anymore because there's a heavy prehistoric monster. So they drop it from thousands of feet. They're flying high in the air, and they've just dropped Gomora, slammed straight into the ground from so many thousands of feet up. I'm just like, wow, that's a little bit brutal. But yeah, they had to release it into the mountains close to the city, and happening to be in the city was Osamu. Osamu and 3 of his friends were in the not in the city, sorry, in the mountains where Gomora landed. And Osamu was still very excited to see Gomora. No, Gomora's not dead. He'll be okay. they get closer to him, and I'm just like, come on now. Yeah, you may like this thing, and it may have history, but step away. You know, just keep your distance. Now let's go closer to it. That's what we should do. Osamu was very excited to see Gomora, a little too excited. So nothing happens to the kid. He's taken home by the police. But at this point, Gomora could reach the city of Osaka, so they relentlessly attack him. The military and SSP, the science party, they relentlessly attack this kaiju. That's where I got more Godzilla vibes from, because this prehistoric creature has awoken to torment. Obviously, the main, original, most common storyline of Godzilla it's from World War II, you know, but there's different storylines nowadays. So there's some storylines where Godzilla used to live like thousands of millions of years ago, so that's what I'm kind of referring to, even though I know that actually he comes from World War II. But anyway, that's a different discussion. But yeah, I noticed the kid at Ultraman mask at one point, so I thought that was pretty cool. Again, if he has an Ultraman mask, he knows what Ultraman is. So I just thought to myself, how come the kids at the start did not believe there was monsters around? Maybe I just read the subtitles wrong. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. All the weapons they fire at Gomora, and nothing's really working as you would expect. Gamora's made of steel. He's bloody strong. They fire everything at him. Nothing works. And Gomora goes underground, goes missing. So he comes back up later on in the episode. So Osamu and his friend are in like a huge area, some building site or something. They're hiding next to like a digger or something, a bulldozer, and Gomora comes up. Osamu's friend runs away to tell people, warn people, and Osamu stays there. And Osamu holds up a stick and calls for Ultraman. It's as if he knows that Ultraman does something to transform or something. He holds up a stick to call for Ultraman. Suddenly he realizes that Gomora's not that exciting. I like how they did the transformation this time, because it wasn't really like, oh, Hayata's here, transformation. It wasn't like that. It's just the kid called for Ultraman. He just held up a stick saying, Ultraman, Ultraman. That's how you actually say it. And then he just flies in. It's not like you don't hear the sound effect or anything. He just flies in from the sky. I thought that was really cool and well done. So yeah, you have this really fun fight scene, which doesn't last that long, as usual, of course. But yeah, the transforming device, it fell out. I don't know how this happens. I've never seen that before. I've seen the human host lose the transforming device. That's happened a lot of times. But Ultraman transformed already. He transformed and then lost the device. How does that work? I'm very confused by that. How did he lose the device? He transformed. So who dropped it? Did Ultraman drop it? I'm so confused by how it dropped. I don't understand that. Has that ever happened before? I say this because even though this is the original show, because I've seen other shows after, I'm just like, did I see that in any other show? I have seen the human host lose it, but I've never seen someone transform and then lose it when they're transformed. That baffled me. I'm just like, how does that fall out when you're Ultraman? Anyway, yeah, it falls into the kid's hands, and now Osamu has his transform device. And somehow Hayata or Ultraman do not know about this until like episode 27. And I'm just like, what? So yeah, Ultraman's energy runs out. His timer goes and he doesn't have time. He's about to beam Gomora, but Gomora's gone underground too quickly. So yeah, that is round one done. They didn't end it on like, it was a cliffhanger, but it wasn't like a brutal cliffhanger like we normally see. Ultraman's out of energy, Gomora gets away, and Ultraman flies away. And then Osamu's family find him, and the episode pretty much ends there. And then you get to episode 27. I like how they put like a thing at the start. Previously on Ultraman, basically. This is like the first time they did that, like ever. I thought that was... I don't know why I find that so interesting. It's just that I like seeing things done for the first time, even though that's like a general TV show thing. But I thought I'd point that out. So yeah, obviously Gomora survived the big fall, survived all the attacks. And at some point, this kaiju is going to turn up in Osaka, and Osamu decides, well, not decides, but Osamu wants to stay in Osaka. He wants to stay in the city, and his father says, "I want to stay in the city." Meanwhile, the mom is stressing out, packing everything up. Let's leave. Let's evacuate. The kid and his dad are just like, "No, let's stay in the city." Okay, I understand the kid, being excited or whatever, not being that scared, but the parents, especially the dad, what's going on? You don't want to evacuate when there's a kaiju running about? Okay. I mean, it could be under your house. How do you know? Why you want to stay there? But this is where it starts to feel a bit more like a Godzilla plot. It feels like it's Godzilla in Osaka, except it's actually Gomora in an Ultraman show. So he emerges in Osaka and he starts destroying cities. And I'm just like, there's this big monster destroying the city. The military are here with tanks and weapons and missiles and aircraft, and they're fighting, throwing everything at this monster. This is like a Godzilla movie I've seen before. And I was just like, oh, this is pretty... Well, when did Godzilla Raids Again release? I need to look it up right now, actually. Wait, hang on a sec. I'm very curious. Godzilla Raids Again, because I got something else to say after this. 1955. Okay, yeah. So this was 11 years after. Okay, that's interesting, because I'll get to why I asked that later. Okay, so Gomora is destroying a city. The military's fighting him. They got to find a way to destroy him. And I was just like, oh, this is similar to a Godzilla plot, except there's Ultraman in this universe, and in the Godzilla universe, there's no Ultraman. There's just other monsters. But I just thought, like, whoa, this is really cool, because it feels like I'm watching that sort of storyline, but within the Ultraman universe. I also feel that, like, because it's the old-fashioned version where it's just people in suits as well, and that's why it probably reminds me a bit more of like Toho Godzilla. I'm just like, yeah, it's people in suits. It's the style of the movie and the camera angles and the way the action is portrayed. It does kind of feel like, they got some inspiration from Godzilla as well. I just thought it was pretty interesting. But so eventually Ide managed to shoot Gomora's tail off, which is awesome, because Ultraman didn't get to do enough damage. But the first one to actually do something significant to the kaiju was Ide. He managed to shoot off its tail. It was in a lot of pain after that. I was just like, okay. I know the kaiju have been on the end of some brutal cut-offs and other things, but damn, this is not even at the end of the fight. This is like in the middle of episode 27. Hayata can't transform because he's just realized that he can't find his device. And all of a sudden, the first person to do like actual damage to Gomora is Ide, who manages to get his tail off. And they realized there was a weakness on his tail, so I thought that was pretty crazy. But yeah, finally some damage, some HP taken off Gomora. So the tail of Gomora that they shot off Gomora, this tail is kind of still alive and still moving, even though it's not part of its body anymore, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, they also, right after they shoot its tail off, before it goes on the ground again, which it does, they managed to shoot a transmitter at it, and now they can actually track where it's going. So that was definitely very useful. And later on, they have to defend Osaka Castle. So Gomora is rampaging through the city and is heading towards Osaka Castle. This is why I'm thinking about Godzilla Raids Again, which is like the second ever Godzilla movie. In this movie, Godzilla fights Anguirus at Osaka Castle. I'm just like, wait, and then later on, Gomora starts destroying Osaka Castle. I'm just like, Godzilla was right here doing the same thing. So I'm just like, there's a lot of inspiration there. I thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see. It was a nice storyline. I feel like it fit really well. Except this time, like in Godzilla, what happens. In this one, actually, you have a giant man in Ultraman who can actually stop this monster and actually do something about it. So yeah, somehow the kid is very knowledgeable, or either just has a crazy imagination, but he realizes that he has to give the device to Ultraman, and he doesn't know what Ultraman is. He has no idea, but he decides he needs to go to SSSP. So he sneaks out of his house. His parents are crazy careless because he's run away from that house like 10 times in the same 2 episodes. I don't know what's going on with those parents, to be honest. They're so focused on his grades, they don't even realize where he is. It's ridiculous. But anyway, he sneaks out of his house, even though there's a kaiju ramping through the city. Somehow he manages to get out of the house without them knowing. And he runs towards the danger zone. He runs to 2 police officers. and one police officer decides to let him in. They're not allowed to let people in, but he lets the kid in. Why? Because he feels that kids are honest, and a lot of kids are, in fairness. And he also is just curious. Why does this kid need to give this little device to the science party? Like, how is that even possible? What's going on? So because this officer is curious, he's going to take the kid into the danger zone, even though it's probably against orders, which I was very confused about. And the kid gets out of a car and runs through into the danger zone. The cop is just like, what are you doing? The military just standing there shooting, and there's a kid running right past them. They don't even realize. It's probably just being disciplined by, following their orders. But I thought that was quite crazy. And then the kid gets the Hayata. He gets the Hayata, and somehow, like, out of pure chance, because he didn't know Hayata was Ultraman. He didn't know that. But he brought the device to Hayata. I'm just like, what a crazy coincidence! It's almost like it was meant to happen. But yeah, I thought that was well done. And obviously Hayata transformed. The kid still doesn't know Hayata's Ultraman, but at least he knows. He at least thinks that he knows. He thinks that the SSP, the science party, know Ultraman is. I'm guessing in his mind they gave it to Ultraman to transform. So, like, does the kid kind of know that Ultraman has to transform, that he needs a stick? When the kid gets older, he'll realize, oh, that man was actually Ultraman. It all makes sense now. He'll realize in like 10 years after this episode happens. So you have the fights. Round 2. Ultraman versus Gomora. Take 2. So this time you have another fun fight. There's one point where Gomora tries to do something with his tail. And then he realizes that he lost his tail. All the pain that he was in from losing his tail, he suddenly forgot that he had no tail. That I was just like, this monster was screaming, was shouting about not having its tail cut off, and somehow it forgot about its tail being cut off. It turned around back to Ultraman, just doing something with his tail. I'm just like, your tail's not there, mate. 90% of it is gone. What are you doing? And it makes it easier for Ultraman to beat him, and then Ultraman decides to be even more brutal to cause Gomora pain. At this point, I just felt sorry for Gomora. I just felt sorry, even though it's a rampaging, hateful monster. I just felt sorry for it at this point, because what Ultraman does is he grabs him by the head, and the 2 horns, he plucks one of the horns off like it's a Lego piece or something. It just sounds like a pluck. Just rips one of his horns off. The way it's ripped off, it sounds like it's a robot or something, like it's Cyber Gomora, even though it's not, even though it's actual animal. It feels, the way it comes off, the sound effect just feels like it feels like Gamora's not an animal in some ways. But I just felt bad because it's lost its head, it lost its tail. It forgot it had its own tail, maybe because of stress or something, I don't know what emotions Gomora has, and then has one of its horns ripped off. I'm just like, geez, and then it tries to run away. It's scared now. It's trying to run away underground again. It's lost the horn, it's lost the tail. Ultraman drags him out this time. No, you don't. Slams him to the ground where he's about to escape, and then beams him. I'm just like, damn. Gomora, even after getting beamed, he got up and then fell down again. I'm just like, I get it. Hateful monster, I get it. I understand it had to be killed, but my days. That was a little bit brutal. Like it was so bad that I kind of felt sorry for the monster, even though there's nothing good about the monster here. It's done nothing good the whole 2 episodes. I felt sorry for it at this point. I'm just like, it's okay. Oh, I'm just like, it's okay. It's you don't have to rip its horn off. Just defeat it. It's just like its tail got ripped off. First of all, you transform to fight a monster that's lost its tail, and then you pluck his horn off, and then it tries to escape, and you've the way he dragged it out and slammed him, it was like a school bully or something. It was just so funny, even though clearly Ultraman winning is the better option. Just the way the villain died was just like, oh damn, that's actually quite sad. But yeah, also it was pointed out as well by Ide and who's the other guy? I forgot his name. Ide and the other guy, the guy he was with, not Hayata. He said Gomora is a hateful creature, but what we did to it is cruel. I'm just like, oh, even the characters in the show realize. I think it was kind of intended because they basically said what I was thinking. I'm just like, yes, it's a hateful beast, but did you see how it died? My days, my days. And then Hayata gives Osamu the classic pin for the uniform as like a thank you. Osamu still doesn't know he's Ultraman, and obviously he's also a communication device. So Hayata tells the kid, don't just concentrate on your drawings, yeah, do your drawings, but also other things in school as well. And Osamu's like, I'll try my best. So there was a message there as well. But yeah, it was a good overall episode, and 2 episodes, and I really enjoyed it. That was really fun to watch. I'm gonna go and watch Cosmos episode now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Cosmos reactions will start in about a month, I think. So we'll get there, because Max is getting closer now. And I think I did 38, 39 as one video. I did 40 as well, special episode. I did special episodes too. And the week after that, you will see First Contact Movie Monday. That's already recorded. You'll see it on Movie Monday the week after Ultraman Max episode 40, and then the day after that you'll see Cosmos episode 1, and then we shall begin a new big journey. As far as I know, I counted the days, and based on the schedule I got planned, it's going to take about a year to finish Cosmos. But I am here for the ride. Hopefully you are here as well. The way I planned it out, it should start in June and end in May next year. So that's a while, but I hope it's worth the wait, because in that time also as well there'll be the new Ultraman show coming, so there'll be reactions to that, and on top of that I'm going to review more shows, and Ultra 7 is next after this one, but I've got to finish this one first, obviously. So yeah, this is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever